Hello, hello. This is Allison, founder and creator of Virtual Corporate Wellness. I am coming to you live. This is a working wellness episode, and I wanted to dive in and talk a little bit about employee engagement today. But before I do, I'm going to wait for some of you guys to hop on. If you're hopping on, watching the replay, go ahead and give me a shout out in the comments. I would love to hear from you. If you're watching live, of course, I want to hear from you as well. But while people are hopping on, and again, if you're watching live, thank you. Give me a shout out in the comments. I want to see who's here. But I got to tell you a funny story. Last week, we had a few, hey Elle, how's it going? Nice to see you. We had a lot of storms last week, and there were a bunch of thunderstorms, and what ended up happening is our house got struck by lightning, and what ended up happening is that over the course of the next few days, found out that the wireless router got hit, the TV got hit, the DVD player got hit, the washing machine got hit. And so it kind of took out a lot of different appliances. So that was kind of an interesting experience. Never had lightning, strike before. So I don't know if any of you have ever gone through anything like that, where it's just like taking out like random appliances in your house. But that was fun. That was interesting. And then Saturday, I have some back and neck pain, and I was stretching and heard something pop, and then I couldn't really turn my neck at all. So it's been an interesting few days. I'm still recovering from that, which is why I have this shirt that says peaceful. I'm really calling that in right to my life right now. So again, if you are watching live, say hi. I would love to know if you're here. If you're watching on the replay, thank you. Tonight I actually want to talk a little bit about employee engagement and a specific tool that I recommend a lot of my clients utilize, and that is surveys. It's a really great tool if done right. However, most companies really kind of do it once a year, twice a year. So I'm curious, what you guys think, but do you feel that workplace surveys are actually valuable? Would love to see if that's something that, I don't know, you actually take seriously or not, because I'll tell you from my experience working in the corporate world, usually filling out those surveys was all about getting on the best places to work list. So it really was more about kind of a PR play, seemingly, than them actually wanting to know what I was actually thinking or feeling about the organization. So I'm curious what you guys think of workplace surveys. If you think that they're valuable, do you think companies actually handle it in the right way? I would love to hear in the comments section, whether you're watching live or on the replay, and really kind of see what you guys think about this, because I find it fascinating. I think surveys can actually be a great tool to utilize to actually info gather and really get a sense of what's going on in an organization. However, I also feel that employees, most of the time, they are a bit skeptical about answering honestly. And I know I did. I basically kind of approached it as, okay, I'm going to take this quiz real quick because we're being asked to, so I can get on to my actual work. And I would actually either put, if it was like on a scale of like 1 to 10, or, somewhat important, I would actually do, 5s, or, everything in the middle. So just felt like I was neutral on every question. And so I didn't really take them seriously when I worked, for companies and I was doing these surveys. I just didn't. Plus, I was like, I don't even really know if this is anonymous. So if I actually gave my opinion, or if I was actually honest about it, what would that come back at me somehow? Would there be some negative repercussions? Elle, you agree? See, yeah, I mean, there's all these questions about, surveys, and can they be done right? And are they valuable? Are they actionable? I think that's the biggest thing. If you ask for feedback on a more regular basis, I think that becomes part of the normal, a part of the culture. And I think that kind of helps the employees kind of, take their guard down and actually be honest. However, you have to make sure that there is that there is that anonymous factor that there is no negative repercussions, and you have to kind of build that, into, your culture, as you go. But, yeah, I mean, I think absolutely. She says, I think people are very skeptical, and it's so true. I know I was like, I don't know if I'm going to answer this, honestly, because it could come back at me. It could maybe, my job might be in jeopardy down the road. And so I think that, a lot of people, really just don't really take them seriously. They don't even, so Paula, you agree? Awesome. Yeah, I mean, people don't take them seriously. Also, it comes down to, I think there's a trust factor, right? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Seemingly, what do they do with this information? Or if it is truly a PR play with trying to get onto one of those best places to work lists, then, are they really taking it seriously, or are they just wanting to get better PR? Or are they actually going to do something, with that information? Elle saying, if they feel safe psychologically, oh yeah, absolutely. There has to be that conversation where, you do feel safe to really, be honest, transparent, and vulnerable, and knowing that your leadership, A, really wants your honest feedback, and B, that they're actually going to do something with that. Because you can give feedback all day long, but if the organization doesn't do anything with it, then it's a waste of everybody's time. So if they're not actually going to listen, then that becomes a problem, and that further widens that, executive to employee gap, right? Sometimes, the two aren't on the same page. There's a disconnect sometimes between employees and the leadership team. And to really kind of break down those barriers and break down those walls, I think that's why, really having this foundation where your employees feel engaged, they feel open and willing, and knowing that you're actually going to do something with that information. And it's going to take time, especially depending on where the organization is at. There might be, some organizations where that trust is strong, but then there's others where, it's a real big divide. And so I think that surveys, when done right, can be a valuable tool. You can't make decisions in businesses today without having data to support it. And surveys can be that data in the workplace that can help drive strategy, that can help drive culture, that can help provide improvements both internally and externally. So I think it's really something that can be done and can be a valuable tool. But unfortunately, what I see is a lot of organizations either do kind of an end of the year and a mid-year survey at most, or the survey is to get on the best places to work list, which in my opinion is more about PR than actually really taking the time to learn what's actually going on in the organization. Because really, with the best places to work, what you want is all your employees to give you good, gold stars, so that, you can have that PR. And what was interesting is there was actually a Gallup poll, where, engaged employees are actually more productive. They take less time off. They make customers happier. So ultimately it comes down, right, to utilizing your best resource that you have at your disposal, which is your employees. And it is, I think, one of the ways that can be very valuable to your organization is to implement surveys, but to do so on a more regular basis instead of twice a year. So there's a great opportunity. Hey, Tim, how's it going? Glad you're here. We're talking about surveys. And, here's a couple of interesting stats, right? And this is what I find fascinating is 60% of employees notice their job is taking a toll on their personal life. Yeah, I felt this way. I absolutely felt this way. And it was one of the reasons why, my health started to kind of go down, when I was working full time, and it just really impacted, just like my personal relationships and everything like that. So, I found that statistic interesting, but here's another one. 58%, of employees would not recommend the company they work for to friends. And I think that's really sad. And that's a really high stat. that to know that many people are not actually gonna, recommend your place of business to their friends. So, that's just, one of those things that is an alarm going off. I think that that's sad. And I think that can be changed. I think if your employees, I think that if they're listened to more on a regular basis and not just twice a year at a mid-year and end of the year survey, I think that they'll take you more seriously. They'll know that you actually really care if you're doing something on a more regular basis. And actually, there is something called pulse surveys. So it's basically a 5 to 10 question survey to kind of gauge the sentiment of what's going on in the organization. Each employee will answer. And I think pulse surveys are really great. And it could be questions like, how happy are you this week at work, on a scale of like 1 to 10. And you could start noticing trends week over week or department by department and really seeing like where there are gaps, in the organization or within teams or, even within like if you have a major project rollout, you can actually, there is a tool that actually can, help you create surveys around different projects, or different teams or different departments. It's actually really cool. But these pulse surveys, are a really great way to, tap into the sentiment of what's actually happening in your organization in a real-time manner. And that's actually one of the benefits. One of the first benefits I wanted to mention is real-time insights, because you can see what's going on in the lives and, in the, minds of the employees on a week-over-week basis. So when you're asking questions like, hold on, I got to reference this, when something bad happens at work, do you know who to ask for help? I think this is a fantastic question because a lot of times if you're onboarding, new individuals, maybe they don't really know. And then 2 years down the road, they still don't know. I think that it's a great way to, find out what's going on in the organization. And another question can be like, do you clearly understand the company's core values? Now, I've worked at numerous companies since I was 13. Yes, that is the age I actually started working, is 13. And I will tell you that not everybody does clearly know, the core values of a company. Maybe more the sales team or support team, maybe they know the core values clearly, but maybe some other departments don't. And this is a great way to see, where there are gaps in the organization, where you can kind of fill them or address issues from a training development perspective or communication perspective, and find out where those breakdowns are happening and fill those quickly, so you're not surprised like at the end of the year, if you get a poor rating. These are some questions that you can ask real time and on a more regular basis, so that you can make changes within your organization. And yeah, I mean, if this is something that's is new to you and to your organization, doing pulse surveys, at first you might get, so-so participation, but as they kind of figure out that the fact that, hey, you are listening and hey, you're actually taking this information and doing something with it and being actionable with it, then, I think that provides trust and respect, and they're going to want to then be honest with you. But there's actually tools out there to make it anonymous, so that no one feels like there's going to be repercussions or negative consequences should they be honest about how they're actually thinking and feeling. So a couple other fun questions are on a scale of 0 to 10. How happy are you at work? Do you have opportunities for growth? Are great questions. And on a scale of 0 to 10, how would you rate your work-life balance? Mine was like 0 on that one for a while. But really, ultimately, I think the point is to have regular touch points, and to also create a container, a culture, an environment where you're getting feedback from your employees in real time, and where managers are getting feedback within their team, so that they know, hey, am I actually being a good leader to this team, or do I need to, change up my game? And like I said, there is, a tool out there that is anonymous, and because it is a third party, you're not, doing this via like SurveyMonkey or something like that. I mean, there's more trust, that, hey, they're really not going to trace this back to me. I can, have and be open, and honest with, my feelings about this organization. So I really think that that's valuable. I mean, if people don't feel like they can be open and honest, or that you'll actually take action, then they're not going to waste their time. And so it has to be part of the culture, or part, of what you're going to do moving forward. And so again, real-time insights I think is really valuable instead of getting them twice a year. It builds better habits, right, for your team. So think about it this way. If you're constantly asking your team members and your employees, hey, are you happy at work? Hey, do you like working here? Hey, is your manager giving you what you need? Hey, or do you have growth opportunities? Do you have what you need to do to have, to get to the next level of your career? I think these are all great opportunities, for managers, for HR, for executives to really get an understanding of what's going on in their organization on a more regular basis. So again, you get real-time insights. Employees build better habits. Employees feel listened to, guys. I mean, this is the big thing, right? Hey, Tim. Hey, Javier. What's up, guys? Employees want to be listened to. They want to feel like they are heard and that their opinion matters. They want to feel like their role is important to the organization. And so I think, these pulse surveys can be a great opportunity for employers actually to get more engagement, really. And another benefit is you get continuous improvement, right? So you're always improving. And I think this is really important aspect of why I guess some companies kind of miss the boat here is that, they kind of set it, forget it mentality, instead of really kind of coming at it is, hey, we're trying to improve on a more regular basis. We're trying to get better. We want to make this a better working environment for you. How can we help? And that continuous improvement, is really, I think, important, especially with how quickly industries and business changes these days, especially with all the technology out there. You have to be able to shift quickly and really be proactive. And I think that pulse surveys actually help you be more proactive, so you can continue to improve. And what's interesting is there's a statistic where you get to a point where you can actually get to an 85% response rate from your surveys when taken in this kind of pulse survey format. So the 5 to 10 quick questions each week, and I would limit it to 5 because make it short, make it sweet, make it visual, make it fun, engaging, and I think that's really important. And then you'll start to see that response rate spike. You'll see employees engage and actually answer because they feel like, okay, my company's actually really taking this seriously. They really care about my opinion. So okay, if they really care about my opinion, this is done by a third party and it's anonymous, then okay, I'm going to give my opinion. And that helps make the company better. It makes your, work life better. And I think that it can be a real valuable, tool for organizations, to implement. But I think, when it comes to surveys, the biggest thing is it needs to be anonymous. And there needs to be communication around it. You want to make sure that, leaders are really, behind this and not just, having it be like another thing on your to-do list, but it's actually something that is going to make a difference in the organization. It's actually going to, spark some action So, you need to ensure that it's anonymous and communicate it clearly, communicate the importance of it as well. And you need to make it fun, right? Where everyone's visual. No one just wants kind of plain text, right? So, it's, and that kind of helps have like a higher response rate. And then ultimately too, what's important with surveys is you want to share the results. You want to make sure, that, the employees kind of see, okay, if you do these results, maybe if we have like a, all hands or, a team staff meeting, you can go over the results on a monthly basis of these surveys. So, everyone else can also, know how everyone else is feeling about the company and, what's being done with that information. And I think that that's really important and vital, piece to this. So again, I think if you want to, if you want to work for a company where, it's engaged, you're engaged, you feel loyal, you feel like, you're seen, you're heard, you matter, then that's something that, is really important. Wow, my computer's just going all sorts of crazy on me, so I apologize. Let's see. Okay, sorry about that. So again, you want to work at an organization where they take your opinion seriously, they take your job seriously, and where your opinion matters. And, as leaders, you have to be open, to that feedback. You have to be open and willing to, make changes as it makes sense for your organization, and make any course corrections to make sure that you are creating a workspace that your employees, are coming to work and they're giving you their best every day, instead of dragging themselves into work or, basically needing a caffeine IV just to get through the day because they're just so over, the work. And so I think it's really important, that companies implement surveys, because it gives you data, and data helps you make smart business decisions. And 3, it can help with that gap that is largely associated, between employees and executives. So you want to close that gap as much as possible. And to do that, I think you need to be honest, transparent, vulnerable, and then you need to ask employees what's going on. Because one of the biggest mistakes I see companies make is making assumptions. They make assumptions about what their employees might want or what they're thinking. And let me just tell you right now, you don't know until you ask, until you make it clear that you want their opinion on a regular basis. So it's really important, I think, and there's some tools out there. You can, of course, do, SurveyMonkey, or, do some, surveys that are already kind of templatized, or you can do some tools that are more dynamic, contextual based, where there's really great, and not just surveys and reports. There's also recommendations on what to do with that information. And so again, like I said, surveys are a really important part of the strategy when I work with my clients, and it's really important to make business decisions with actionable data in real time. You don't want to only have a survey twice a year and then that be it. And then, by the time you actually do anything with it, maybe it's too late. Maybe people are just leaving, mass exodus out the door because they can't stand, working at your company anymore. So, I think that there's a lot of things to it. So I think to do surveys, to get increased engagement, to have that loyalty, to improve that communication between executives and staff, you really have to, be smart. And I will tell you that a lot of companies are really stuck in this status quo, old school mentality, and doing things the way they've always been done and expecting a different result. And as we all know and have heard, that is pretty much the definition of insanity. And in today's world, in today's business world, you have to have data to make the decisions, and you need to be able to pivot quickly. And then you also need to take action with it. And, actions speak louder than words. So, it's not lip service. Like, this is all about getting actionable intelligence, making smart decisions, looping in your employees in the process, and really, really doing something with that, because you want to create a culture where your employees are open and honest. And it's really all parties, being open and willing to be, students for life, and really, lifelong learners and growing. And we're not perfect, and you never set it and forget it, and whatever other cliche I can come up with in my mind right now. I think so. Here's the deal. I really think I actually customized surveys for my clients, but there's also some additional great tools out there. If you are interested in pulse surveys and these like quick 5 dynamic, surveys that actually change week over week, they're not the same questions. They change. It actually is a really, really cool tool. And if you have worked with me or know me, you know that I don't recommend anything I haven't tried myself. And you also know that when I vet vendors, I'm pretty tough. And so I have been looking for a tool like this to implement in my business, and I'm really excited about it. And I can actually offer a free 30-day trial for you guys if you're interested in the tool specifically that I use for doing 5-question pulse surveys every week, to give you insights, to give you actionable intelligence, so that you can make smart business decisions, so that you can create a strong strategy moving forward. Which actually, did you know doing surveys is a corporate wellness tool? Yeah, that's right, it is. These are just again, you can't make assumptions. You need actionable information, and you need to make sure that your employees feel heard, feel like they matter, feel like their role is important. You need to increase engagement, and to do that, you need information, and you need it in real time, so that you can pivot quickly and make changes, as it makes sense, right? So to do that, you need more information. Again, if you're watching live, give me a shout out in the comments. Really appreciate it. If you're watching on the replay, I appreciate you too. I would love to hear from you. Do you guys even like doing employee surveys, or have you ever answered them and it's just like complete BS, right? Because you're just answering it like you think that your organization wants you to hear. You're telling them things that they want to hear, not what's actually going on in your mind, right? So have anyone not, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the one that hasn't always been honest when I take those surveys, because I'm nervous about, the implications, or it coming back on me because it's not completely anonymous, or I don't trust that it's anonymous. So I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that, but I know for me personally, I haven't always been truthful when I've done, employer surveys, when I worked at various companies over the years. So, and I think it's because I didn't think it was really taken seriously, because it was always usually for those best places to work, which to me was kind of more of a PR stunt than actually them wanting to really find out like what my opinion was on the organization, and them actually listening so that they can make changes. So doing more frequent surveys, I know weekly sounds really overwhelming, like, oh my gosh, how can we do that? But there's a tool out there that can get you an 85% response rate on surveys, which is usually, in my opinion, I haven't seen that high of a survey result. So I think that that's really cool, because you have to make it dynamic, you have to make it fun, you have to make it engaging and visual, right? Because most of us are visual learners. So it can't just be a text box. And so if you are interested in doing kind of pulse surveys or talking about this, how it can apply to your employer or your organization or your team, private message me, give me a shout out in the comments. Again, I actually vetted a tool that is really, really cool. I'm really excited to be partnering up with them, and I think it's going to make a huge difference. I already, preach all about surveys because I don't believe that companies should make any decisions based on assumptions. It should be based on data. It should be based on, actionable intelligence. again, I can give you like a 30-day free trial if you guys are interested in learning more. Private message me, or give me a shout out in the comments, and I'll get in touch with you to give you all the details. But I think it's really important. So we're going to be talking about this again, because if surveys are the pulse of what's going on in your organization in real time, just think of how much that could really impact productivity. Not to mention, if your employees are more productive, that means, hey, the bottom line is going to probably improve, right? And you're creating a happier, healthier work environment where your employees are engaged and they want to work with and for you, and they want to see the organization succeed in a big, big way. And so I think that there are so many benefits to doing surveys, but a lot of times they're not done in the most effective, efficient, or in a way that makes employees feel like they can actually be honest. And so that's why I have been digging around trying to find a tool that I think would actually take all those concerns and blow them out of the water, because I think that it's really important for organizations to have tools at their disposal that, one, are efficient, effective, actionable, and are cost effective. And think about what you could do with that information. Think about what the difference you can make in the lives of your employees and in your business and your bottom line by just making this one little tiny change by adding a survey. I mean, because imagine what you could do. Imagine the feedback. Imagine how you can get ahead of issues. Especially like if you're doing exit interviews. And a lot of times in those exit interviews, HR has no idea that there were, certain concerns going on within the organization until someone has already turned in their notice, or is, that last day that they're leaving and they're doing the exit interview. This can help mitigate those surprises. It can also help mitigate people from leaving. So I really think that that's just it's an important tool that companies can utilize that can increase productivity, engagement, loyalty. It can improve morale, and it can also, at the end of the day, be something that can help boost profits. Because if your employees are happier, healthier, more productive, they're probably, working more to help you meet your business goals and objectives. So again, surveys are the tool. Again, I can get you a 30-day free trial with the tool that I trust, but would like to have a conversation to make sure that it's appropriate fit for you. So again, private message me or give me a shout out in the comments if you're interested, because again, I don't believe in a one size fits all or cookie cutter program. So this is something that is actually dynamic, contextual. It changes, and there's like a pool of over 400 questions that you can pull from, and it's done for you automatically. Plus, there's a way to do customized questions organization in regards to leadership, in regards to training and development, etc. So I think it's a really fantastic tool. I would love to share more with you and see if it's a fit for you. It may not be a fit for everyone, and I don't recommend things that aren't going to be a fit because I don't want you to waste your money, and I don't want to waste my time either, as kind of blunt as that sounds, because I believe in, giving you the tools that you're actually going to need and use that will make a difference in your organization. And if it's not a fit, it's not a fit. But I don't think that there is any company that I've seen that have actually really taken surveys to this next level like I've seen with this tool. So I think it's really important if you're really, tired of the status quo, the unconventional, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If you are seeing that your employees are stressed out all the time, overwhelmed, if morale is in the toilet, if there are things that are going on within your organization that need to be addressed either from a leadership or employee perspective, then surveys can help give you that intelligence so that you can make an appropriate action plan to move forward. And so again, this can be a really, really valuable tool. I know this is a little bit long-winded of a conversation, and I would love to kind of pick that up with you again If you were watching live, thank you so much. Thank you for Elle, Tim, Javier. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. If you're watching on the replay, give me a shout out in the comments because I'd love to hear from you too. And again, private message me if pulse surveys or this strategy could be a fit for you. Because I would love to have a conversation to see if it makes sense. But I definitely believe in surveys. I believe in making decisions and strategies based off of data, because I think that's the only way that you're actually going to get the results that you're looking for. So I thank you for hanging in there with me. Thank you for listening to my story about the lightning hitting the house and randomly taking out a bunch of appliances in my house. But I hope that you guys are having a great week. It is Wednesday. There's only a couple more work days left, so I hope you guys are doing something fun this weekend, and I hope to see you here next week. So if you have any suggestions on topics that we should cover, I would love for you to just shout it out and type it out in the comment section. So again, I appreciate you. Private message me if you're interested in pulse surveys. Again, there's a 30-day free trial that I can get you in on if it makes sense for you, but I want to have a conversation first because again, I don't want you to waste your time or money or energy on anything that's not a fit for your organization. So let's chat, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. All right, bye guys.